Hello my bullet journaling cuties, it's Erin here, and if the idea of setting up for August terrifies you a little bit because it means so much of the year is gone, me too. My August layout is going to be a collagey, scrapbooky kind of style, but without going too hard on it. And I will be using a whole bunch of stuff from a bunch of different places, so if anything that I'm using catches your eye, jump into the description. There are links to everything down there, and also some discount codes to help you get a little bit of money off if you decide to grab anything that you see me using in this video. Maybe don't grab this glue tape though. It is not my favorite and I don't really recommend it. And I will actually switch to a different glue tape later on in the video when I get sick of it enough. We're starting here with a quote page on the left side and then a cover page on the right. I don't always do quote and cover pages, but I was feeling like using a lot of cute stuff this time around, so we're doing an extra spread than what is entirely necessary to my journal. And it was these dessert stickers that inspired this whole thing. I got them in my recent stationery pal haul, which you can see up in the top right hand corner if you'd like to. I am also running a giveaway on that video that is still open at the time that this one is going up, so jump over there if you'd like to enter. But I fell in love with these dessert stickers and then I realized I had a lot of stuff that would go really well with them, so here we are. The quote I'm going for on this first page is "Life is sweet when you pay attention," which I think is pretty nice. It kind of harks to the gratitude practice that a lot of us have in our bullet journals, which I'm actually not doing at the moment, but you know, if you're paying attention, you can find things to be grateful and happy for. I'm using an Archer and Olive A5 dot grid journal for my bullet journal for the next 6 months. 5 months now, because August. And this is quite a little selection of pens here from different brands. The pink pen that I used to letter the word sweet is from Faber Castell, and the other two, the brown ones, are both from Artistro's brush tip paint pen collection. And of course, my favourite pens of the moment for all of my fine liner needs in a few different line weights in this particular setup are the Pigma Micron. I'm using the 03 and also the 08 for some nice thick lettering as well. I have these gorgeous post-its that are from Stationery Pal, also from that recent haul, and that brown paper that I've put in the top left side of the quote page is actually what came wrapped around my string and space journal that they sent me very recently, which is another bullet journal brand. So that worked out really well. I unboxed it and I was like, oh, this is gonna go great in my August setup, which is always really exciting when you can upcycle some packaging. And the great thing about these collage style layouts, especially when you're putting functional parts on a piece of paper that isn't already bound into your journal, is that when you make a mistake like I did here, you can just do another one and you're all good. We have moved on to the cover page here, and I wanted it to have a little August calendar on it as well, not for any kind of functional reason, just because I thought it would be kind of sweet. The lovely elegant chocolate brown washi tape you've just seen me stick down is from the Washi Tape Shop's Academia collection. And I'm literally just ripping up a craft paper envelope to use for all of my craft paper sections throughout this whole video. This is one of my favourite lettering tricks. If you have trouble keeping things centered, start from the middle of the word, add the second half first, and then go back and add each letter before that. And then you'll have a nicely centered word almost every time. You're gonna see me change my mind a lot in this video, and I do that all the time when I'm making a collage style layout like this where there's lots of elements, moving things around, changing my mind. I don't think too hard in a logical way while I'm doing this. I kind of just look at what's on the page, and if it feels good, I'll go for it. But sometimes in between planning where it's gonna go and actually sticking it on the page, especially when there's glue tape involved and you have to remove it, flip it over, add the glue tape and put it back, sometimes things move and I can't remember where they were, so it's a very free-flowing kind of way to set up your journal, but it is really therapeutic and fun. Do you ever look through your stationery and have no idea how you got something? That's me with this brown washi tape. I seriously could not tell you how I ended up with it in my collection. If you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, please do consider subscribing. I make bullet journal content and also stationery videos, and I post a new one every week on Mondays Australian time. So if you'd like to come along for the ride, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you know when I've got something new for you to watch. And I'd love to have you here as part of my little family. It's time to set up the actual calendar that I will be writing my appointments and events on for the month. So I'm going to do that over 2 pages this time, which makes it a spread when it goes on the left and right page. I've made the boxes in this calendar 5 spaces by 5 spaces. And I always deliberately skew my design so that the functional parts go a little bit more towards the top left of the page, because I don't like the feeling of my hand kind of falling off the edge of the book when I'm writing towards the right side of the right page, if that makes sense, and the bottom of the right page too. I just don't love that feeling, so I skew everything a little bit towards the left and balance it out with decoration on the right so that I can be more comfortable while using my book. Also, is this paint pen not the perfect gingerbread kind of color? I wish I'd thought to do this on the quote page at the front, but going over the top of that brown with a white paint pen like this, oh, it just looks like gingerbread. It makes me so happy. There is a good chance I will go back to that quote page and go over the lettering that I did in black on the brown there with this white pen, but you won't see me do that in this video. So if you want to see if I actually get my act together and do that, find me on Instagram. I am at erinsmith.art. And we can have some other bullet journal adventures together. Now these are origami papers that I picked up at Daiso, and I think they're so perfect for this. They look like a similar kind of art style even to the little stickers that I'm matching them with, which worked out really well. I went into Daiso for something else entirely and I saw these and was like, oh, it has to happen. And if you're not sure how to use scrapbooking paper in your journal, I really recommend that you kind of use it to line the top right and top left corner. We've hit the point where my glue tape is infuriating enough that I've decided not to use it anymore. This one's from Kmart and it's great. But you see how I'm going for donuts in the bottom left and craft paper in the top right on this spread, and they kind of balance each other out. It's a really good way to get some color and some texture on your page without you having to put in a lot of work, which is my favorite thing. When I don't have to work hard and things look good, that's when I'm my happiest, I think. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing a collage layout like this is that not all of your decorative elements need to be touching each other. If you have kind of a few little vignettes of cuteness around the space and leave a little bit of negative space in between them, it's gonna let things kind of breathe a little bit. So I'm placing this piece of gingham paper down the bottom. I'm gonna layer a couple of other little bits over the top of it, but there's still gonna be a gap between this and what's going on the left side and what's going on the right, and then another gap between that and what's happening on the top, and you get the idea. Give things a little bit of room to breathe. We're going to get into some single page setups now, and this first one is something I've been including in my past few journal layouts. I found I wasn't really loving my gratitude log anymore, so rather than having a space to write something for every day, I'm doing this section that I'm calling Musings. And underneath that I've got another box for my goals. I've described the Musings part as my brain dump section in the past, but I kind of just use it like I would have used my Twitter feed if I hadn't deleted it last year. So things that occur to me that I'm like, I will write them down there. So that can be quotes from stuff that I find. It can be just how I'm feeling about a thing, a revelation that I've had. I guess that is kind of brain dumpy, but also not in the way that a traditional brain dump is used. I don't know, not really. I've never really had a brain dump section in my journal. And the boxes with decoration kind of around them is a little bit of a theme, I suppose. By the time we get to the weekly spread, you'll see how they kind of match each other a little bit. They tie in. If you're ever not sure how to make a page look better, just put the things that you've put on the page in a box and they will instantly look more cohesive and deliberate, which is always nice. In case you couldn't tell, I'm really enjoying this torn edge layered look that's going on here. I've done it a bit already on the previous page, and now I'm gonna bring it over here too. It just seems like, you know when you see one of those naked cakes with like a crumb coat and you can see the cake peeking through the buttercream or whatever it is? Or maybe even when you've cut into the cake and you can see all the layers inside? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. So hopefully it's translating well and you can see what I'm going for here. I tell you what, my friends, once you go Bluetooth printer for your habit tracker, you never go back because it's so much easier. I'm using my calendar layout that I made, and I've actually added the numbers to it this time because I found I needed them last month and I didn't have them. So I've added the numbers. As always, I have this available as a downloadable like JPEG file. So if you have a Bluetooth mini printer like I do, this is the Fomemo MO2 mini printer, and I have a video about it that I will pop a link to in the top right corner for you in case you'd like to see it. I'll put a link in the description this time because quite a few people were keen on this calendar the last time I mentioned it, and I asked you just to DM me, and then I got quite a few, and I was like, oh no, I have to send it many times. So rather than that, I'll pop a link in the description so that you can download this. But if you do use it, please do just like snap a photo, even if you don't share your bullet journal online, snap a photo and send it to me because I'd love to see. I want to see my little calendar baby out there in the world, making other people's lives easier. And I've finally finished the semi-transparent roll of paper that I had for my Fomemo. So I'm using the white paper again, which is nice and opaque, which means that I can put my decorative stuff down on the page first and then stick the calendars over the top and they will float in front of whatever is there. So that's really nice because with the transparent paper you had to be careful about where the decoration went around it. You kind of had to stick the calendars down first and then decorate around them. So this time I don't have to do that. I can do decoration first and then calendars. To be fair, usually I do like to put the practical elements of a layout down on the page first and then decorate around them, but when you know you want something to sit in front of your decoration like this, then yeah, it makes sense to do it the other way. Of course it does. Also, August is just one of those freaky months that has so many weeks. I actually had to add an extra row to the bottom of my calendar template to make all of the weeks for August fit on here. So if you've downloaded my calendar before, it might not work for this month. I'm so sorry guys, but you can download it again and this time it has numbers on. So I've made your life even easier. Hopefully that sweetens the deal a little bit. That extra week's worth on the bottom of these also means that I can only fit 6 on a page this time. Usually I can get away with 8, so I'm only going to be tracking 6 habits. I think that's fine. I only really need to track 6 habits. There are a couple of things I was tracking that are also tracked by my phone, so I don't really need to have it in my journal. I just like crossing things off because it makes me feel accomplished. But I also think it's possible to track too many things, so 6 does seem like a pretty reasonable number of habits to be trying to stay on top of, I think. Now clearly I haven't left myself any space to add the habit at the top of these last two calendars at the top of the page, but lucky for me I have these pink stickers that I picked up from a brick and mortar shop near me that are almost the same colour as the pen that I've been using, and I didn't cut them very well, but they're gonna do the job anyway, it's totally fine. I also didn't leave myself enough space to comfortably add a heading at the top of the page, and even though I know what this is, when you're posting it on Instagram it's just nice to have what it is written on it so that people know if they're new to bullet journaling. So habit tracker's going down the side in my little gingerbread combination, and I think that's fine. Cute, I like it. We're really not deviating too far from my July layout here because my mood tracker is going to be a very similar style again, where I have lots of coloured blobs on the page and I will draw a little doodle on them each day to signify how I was feeling, and at the end of the month you've got a cute page full of like sweet little doodles that's really colourful and fun, so even if you had a bad month you have a cute page. The trick here is to space out your blobs so that they look intentional but also not like they're in a grid, which is kind of tricky. This box down the bottom is for the key, so I'm going to draw each of my little doodles that I'm going to use for the different moods. I'm going to do 4 for the month, and that's going to be how I refer to, well, I'm happy today. What am I drawing? I'm drawing a cupcake. Very good. I am not the most artistic person in the world, so I've actually looked up doodles for, I think I just literally looked up dessert doodles and like ice cream doodle and stuff like that, and I'm copying things that I found on Google. And they worked really well. Very simple. So, pro tip, if you don't know how to draw something, Google it. Google something doodle, and then you'll find an easy version that you can copy, which is always nice. And doodles don't need to look perfect, so it's a win-win, really. And here's Mitsu come to interrupt, as he does, and I love him for it. The facing page is a boring but necessary one. It's my spending tracker. I write down all of the things I need to keep track of spending. I run a small business and also am 34 and have life expenses, so it's good to have somewhere to keep track of all that stuff. But I do this the exact same way every time, so I feel like you don't need to hear me yap about it. Unless you do. Let me know. I don't know. If I'm ever likely to forget to include a spread in my journal, it's the content calendar, and I almost forgot it again this month, but then at the last minute I was like, wait, content calendar, I need one. So this is a similar layout to the calendar spread that we already did back at the beginning of this month, but I'm adding an extra row in between each one so that I've got somewhere to put the number for each day, because I tend to end up with a lot more data on this spread than I do on the overall calendar one, so I didn't want to eat into the box space with a little circle in the corner for where the number goes for each day, so I gave them their own dedicated space. And this is the spread where all of my social media planning goes, and I haven't been very good at it lately. I haven't been posting as much as I usually do, just mostly because things got busy and Instagram has, you know, moved the goalpost as they like to do, but the bullet journal community on Instagram is so lovely, and I need to post to Instagram for my business, otherwise I don't get work. So, you know, it's a necessary evil in some ways and a really fun place to hang out in others. The way I do this is I have 4 different accounts that I'm keeping track of. So I have 2 blogs and 2 Instagram accounts essentially, and I have colors for each of them that I have assigned in friction pens, which I will swatch in the top later. I usually would write what each one is, but I just wasn't ready to like look back at last month and compare everything, so I didn't do that this time. But basically the purple is for my business blog, so I will plan out my blog posts with the purple highlighter, and the yellow is for my bullet journal stuff and so on and so forth, so I can write down what I plan to post for each of the days and use the appropriate highlighter to make sure I know what account it's for. Voiceover Mitsu also wants to visit. If you hear some meowing, that's my little boy just saying, hey, I want some more dinner. He's had his dinner, but he wants more. And I have a to-do list section over on the right side as well that I just use for specifically social media to-do things, because if I put them on my weeklies and I don't get to them, sometimes they get lost and I forget what I need to be doing. So sometimes I do have my to-dos in more than one place in this system, but I'm okay with that. I think it's fine. One last spread for this setup. This is my weekly, and I 100% ripped this weekly spread design off Ruthie Journals on Instagram, whose work is absolutely stunning, and I aspire to be like her in every way. I love that this weekly is kind of like a checkerboard. You've got lots of space to write down your tasks and events for each day, but you've also got lots of room to decorate, which I always like, especially for a theme like this one. I also really like that it has space for both a Saturday and a Sunday rather than just one combined space for the weekend, because a lot of my work takes place on the weekend, so I need to have those separate and delineated, otherwise I don't know what I'm doing on which day. The way I'm approaching decoration for this spread is sticking with the checkerboard kind of theme. So I'm using paper in the empty squares, and I'm just going to layer a couple of other little sticker elements over the top of that to keep the theme going, keep all the colors represented, keep some donuts on the page, and that actually makes it a really easy weekly to set up. I thought it would take longer than it did. I will admit this whole layout is not the quickest thing in the world. It took me about probably a bit over 2 hours to set up all of this, but I love setting up my bullet journal spreads for the month. So I'm happy to take 2 hours and just really enjoy myself, and it helps me feel organized even though I haven't done any actual organizing for the month. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone besides me, but it makes a whole world of sense to me. So that's all that matters, right? With bullet journaling, as long as you like what you're doing, then you're doing it right. Let's flip through this very sweet bullet journal setup for August 2022. Thank you so much for planning with me. If you make anything that's inspired by this setup, please do tag me on Instagram. I am at erinsmith.art and I would love to see what you make. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me your favorite dessert emoji down below so that I know that you were here for the whole thing. Thank you. I see you. I appreciate you so much. Again, my name is Erin and I post new stationery and bullet journaling videos every Monday, so if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, please do subscribe and come along for the ride, and hit like if you liked this video. I'll catch you again in another video next Monday. Until then, I hope you have a beautiful and very tasty week. Bye!